Okay, who are my observers? Okay, what did you see?
I thought definitely both of them did an excellent job with unconditional positive regard. Neither one of you two had any kind of like judgment or anything in your voice or the way you guys looked at the situation. But Chris did a really good job kind of seeing both sides. There was no, I didn't see side taking. Neither one of you guys had any side taking. So I thought the questions were really worded really well there. Authentic, the authenticity. You guys were both very authentic with what you were saying. You got kind of them to be more authentic with their feelings and kind of talk about what they really wanted. At first they were such on different ends, and then they kind of really towards the middle, towards the end, they kind of came together with similar ideas and situations. I saw with accurate empathy. Chris did a really good job using like proper words. Like she wasn't really saying exactly what word, but then he brought up like tension or frustration, and she agreed and had kind of a yes cycle going with that. So that was really good. And for the internal evaluation system, beginning you kind of got the husband to say how he feels like about his religion. And that's kind of what he said. Well, I'm really religious, and so that's how I feel. I thought maybe could have gone into like if that was strictly how he feels, or if that was just his religion kind of saying that that's how he feels. But I think 30 minute or an hour session we could have gotten into that much more.
Good. Very nice feedback.
I have more or less the same thing as what Chris said. I liked how Gemma, with the internal evaluation system, kind of tried to use that as something to almost come up with a resolution. A lot of good phrases, a lot of focus on emotion and being authentic. I don't know if you had anything he said, and didn't really touch on conditions of worth. I don't know where that could have come in though.
Yeah, I think I would have. I think I would have liked to have seen, in terms of the conditions of worth, I think you could have explored that internal valuation system in addition to the conditions of worth by exploring the religion and saying, what about this makes it, well, tell me more about your religion and talk to me about how much of that do you ascribe to, how much of that are you fearful of in terms of what if it's true kind of thing. So, and that's connected too with, I think, the accurate empathy. You did a nice job of talking about the frustration. I'd like for you guys to try to go a little bit deeper. So what's behind the frustration? I think there is definitely a fear of sin, which is essentially a fear of failure, or a fear of damnation or judgment. There, I think there's a fear of loss of life or loss of self. And in two respects, I think Teresa, there was a fear of loss of self in terms of the career and her identity as a career woman, and all of what she's worked for. Because she's come up pregnant, she may have to give up, and not just temporarily, but there's a fear that she may have to give it up forever. And what does that mean to her? So going a little bit deeper, trying to see, why are they so stuck? Try to ask yourself the question, what are they really afraid of? What's really at the core here? I think there was also essentially a fear of a loss of potential joy in the relationship for Nancy. Just the idea that this baby could bring us joy, it could bring us closer together, it could bring us, it could make us a family, and not wanting to give that up. So I think there was some more going on than we touched on, and I think even though we didn't have a lot of time, I think we still could have gone a little bit deeper. So I'd like for you guys to try for that. Try to dip down a little bit more. I agree with the fact that the unconditional positive regard was absolutely there. I didn't sense any kind of judgment, any kind of side taking. And this is an issue where it's easy to take sides, depending on what you believe. So I think you both did a really nice job of staying neutral. And not just staying neutral, but I felt there was support for both of them. I thought you were both very warm and demonstrated an understanding of both of their points of view and a support for both of their points of view. I try to focus a little bit less on problem solving like, have you tried talking about this? Have you tried? We want to explore the issue more at this point than we do want to problem solve, because we haven't had enough time with them to go to problem solving. So we need to figure out what's going on first. Okay. So I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? Was there other?
No.
There were. Okay. Let's see what else. Yeah, I didn't feel like. Again, we went into the conditions of worth. I might ask you to say, so what would happen in your mind if you went through with the abortion for both of them? And what would happen, what's kind of driving that? And I'd also explore with Teresa what would happen if there was a loss of that career. What would that mean about her? Oftentimes those kinds of questions can get to the conditions of worth. It means I'm a failure. It means that I didn't fulfill my potential. It means that I'm a bad person. If we go to the abortion, it means that I'm a bad person, or that I'm, I'll be judged forever by this. I'll have committed the worst kind of sin against another person. It really kind of depends on what their belief system is. So you want to do some digging there in terms of what the conditions of worth are that are driving them. And with the congruence, what kinds of reactions or thoughts were you having towards them? I thought you both did a nice job of at least portraying support. Did you feel support for them?
I did. I just think it's it seemed like they were so at odds with the current situation, even though their values ultimately seemed to be similar. Like they both did want to have a child and it was something important to them, but it just was, the timing was really off, and that's really frustrating, because it would be a totally different situation if, like, Teresa didn't ever want to have a baby.
And it seems like you really related to that God, we
it's
both
just,
want
like
this, but the
this,
timing is off.
it's
How
awful.
frustrating. So you share that with them. You want to say, I really do get the sense that this comes down to timing, and what a tragedy that is for both of you, isn't it? And share the emotion and the feeling that you're having about what they're experiencing. And that would then demonstrate that congruence. What were you feeling?
Actually, I was feeling exactly that thought, that it seems like what you guys want, but the wrong time for it.
Yeah, so you can say, I feel so frustrated for both of you, because I can sense that this is something that both of you want. And it all comes down to timing. Doesn't that seem like a ridiculous, like, cosmic joke here, And just, you want to share your personhood with them. Share your reaction. Now, again, you want to be careful about what you share, because you don't want to share judgment. So that means you really do have to crawl inside their head and their heart and look at it from their point of view, not yours. And so that you do feel empathy, and you do feel you're experiencing kind of this process with them, so that you can share it with them. That's why that unconditional positive regard piece is so important. Okay. Other comments? How are our shadows doing back there? Are you having any?
I particularly enjoyed when Chris asked about a couple months down the road that was going to elicit some issues that Nancy was going to go through, being that she had to work more. If we had more time, it would have totally brought them more out. But I would recommend the use of silence.
Okay.
Everything was being filled.
Okay, so letting them think a little bit more about what they're feeling and what their thoughts are. Give them time to organize. Okay. Celia?
Yeah. Like when I was like observing, as like kind of, I was thinking maybe we should have like come focused more on like how the wife is considering, like how his husband would perceive her if she's going to give up this baby, and like she might feel guilty about that.
Right, right. I think that's a really important sort of issue that wasn't touched upon, I don't think, by anybody, but I think it's an important one, because you're right. How is he going to feel about me if I go through with the abortion? Or how is she going to feel about me if she keeps the baby and it's not really what she wants? Are they going to resent me? Are they going to hate me forever? I think that's a really important